Okay, guys, I promised you that I would work a few problems on your review practice side. So what I chose is the first problem here. Now you have y equals x squared plus 9x plus 18. Okay, so most of you guys do not have a calculator at home, so if you don't, remember that you can get on my website, go to where it says Online Graphing Calculator. Okay, click on there, and here you go. Now let's put that x squared plus 9x plus 18 into y1 there. Okay, so there's x. Go over here to the blue buttons, click on square to get your x squared. Then plus 9x plus 18. And then push graph. And you get a nice little parabola, a little U-shaped here. All right, so then we can begin to answer some of the questions that are there. The easiest ones to do right off the bat are just the zero roots and solutions. So if you look over here, you can see that it crosses the x-axis here at -6 and at -3. So I'm going to go ahead and put those roots or those solutions down on the paper. They're called the zeros. So x equals -6 and x equals -3. Okay. Also, as you guys go back to the calculator, you can see that the point in between -3 and -6, because remember these things are symmetrical. So the spot that's right smack dab in between those is right here. So the average of -3 and -6 is -4.5. Okay, so we know that that point right there is where the vertex is going to be. Okay, so then if we know that that x value is -4.5, well, how do we find out what the y value is? Well, on the online graphing calculator, all you need to do is go over here to the table and just take your cursor and slide it over one of the numbers and just replace it with the number that you want, so -4.5. Now you can see when it does that, it automatically changes what the y value is. This ordered pair, -4.5, -2.25, that is the location of our vertex. Okay, so go back over here. Let's write that down. A little bit different values than we got in class, but that's okay. -4.5, -2.25. Okay. If we have those two values, remember, we have our axis of symmetry, and we've got at least part of our range. So remember, this is always going to be the same value that comes over here with the axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry we'll write as x equals -4.5. That represents the vertical line that goes right through here, right? Okay. You always know that your domain is going to be x is an element of the real numbers, which some of you guys are calling XER or XE double bar R. The range is always going to start with a y, and you're always going to have a number over here. This number is going to be the exact same thing as that number, so -2.25. The question then becomes, is it going to be greater than or equal to -2.25 or less than or equal to -2.25? Okay, so as we go back to the calculator, you can see here's where -2.25 is, right here. And you can see this guy opens up upwards. So it's taking care of all of these numbers above that -2.25. But all these numbers down here are left out. Okay, so it's 2.25 and anything above that or anything greater than that. So we should say that y is greater than or equal to -2.25. Okay, let's do number 5. This is our quadratic examples here. Remember, you can look back at your notes to figure out what the y, what the v, and what the c equal. But this is basically the template here. Y equals -16x squared plus vx plus c. Okay. It says a rock falls off a building. Okay, now underline falls there. What that basically is stipulating is that no one threw it. It didn't get thrown up in the air, it didn't get thrown down in the air. It's just been basically let go. So therefore the initial velocity is 0. So v is 0. Then it tells you that that building is 1,024 feet high. Well, that is your starting height. That's telling you that your c equals 1,024. Okay? So let's write the quadratic equation that goes with that. I'm going to replace the v with 0 and the c with 1,024. So y equals negative 16x squared plus 0x. I can leave that out if I wanted to. Plus 1,024. Okay. That is the equation that will eventually give us the correct answer. Okay, so let's put that into the online graphing calculator. Negative 16x squared plus 0x plus 1,024. Okay. Negative 16x squared plus 0x plus 1,024. Okay. Before I graph this, think about that. That building's going to start way up there at 1,024. And right now we're just showing 10 for a max in the y-intercept. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my settings right here. Click on that. I'm going to go ahead and change the x-axis to -1 for the min. And I'll leave the max at 10. That's fine. So this is the same thing we did in class. For the y-axis, I'll put -1. And for the y max, I want to get up over that 1,024. So I'll say 1,100. Okay? Let's graph it. Okay, so here's the story. Here it is starting up here at 1,024. It rolls off the building. You can see at first it's not going very fast, and then it really starts to pick up some speed, and then boom, it hits the ground right here. It's asking, the question's asking, how long will it take for the ball to hit the ground? Well, you can see as you count out here from 0, it goes all the way to 8. It takes 8 seconds for that ball to hit the ground. That's our answer. Pretty easy once we have the graphed, right? Okay, hopefully that helps you out with some of the other questions. If you get stumped, come on in and see me. Okay, you'll also have an opportunity to ask a few questions in class, but you need to make sure you have this done. Thank you very much.